cool. Yeah, I'm recording. I'm all good to go.
Okay, so tell me, you use pounds for weight and for money?
Yeah, it doesn't get confusing at all somehow, but now that you've pointed it out to me, I feel like it should.
It seems like it, I don't know. Don't you guys, like, also use, like, miles sometimes?
Wait, do you not use miles?
No, we use miles. I think we all think you use kilometers.
Yeah, I feel like the smart ones among us use kilometers. I don't understand what a kilometer is. Like, I mean, I know what it is in, like, maths. I couldn't tell you, like, in kilometers how far I am from something. Like, what is it?
Oh, yeah. So you guys say, like, oh, like, it's 3 miles away.
Yeah, because we're normal. We're normal.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but you use meters, right, and stuff?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Okay.
What do you use?
We have feet. We don't have meters here.
You only use feet.
We also use feet, though.
What are you doing?
I think we exist just to fuck over every other country and confuse them.
Yeah.
Oh my
Actually,
god.
you know what?
Okay.
While we're on the subject of cultural differences, were you, because I remember a lot of Americans were coming after me on Twitter over this. Were you for or against beans on toast?
I've never, like, I would never. I think I understand that that's a British thing, and I know that, and I knew that before, but I've never seen it, nor have I, like, heard of anyone actually consuming it. But I do feel like...
You've never seen beans on toast?
I knew it was a thing. I know it's a thing that you guys do. That was not news. I just have never... It's just not a thing at all here in any way.
Well...
Have you seen pictures of it?
Yeah, like, or like in movies or, you know, stuff, when I see British people, like, eating beans with toast and then their cup of tea, and I'm like, okay, guys, just calm down.
Oh, God, I mean, let's not even get started on curry on chips. God, that's gorgeous.
What?
Yeah.
Chips and curry. Yeah.
Or chip butties.
So you're outnumbered today, Nirav.
Okay, so, well, right, but now, because it took me a minute, because, like, first, I have to translate chips into fries in my head.
That's a good point.
And then I have to figure out what curry you're talking about. It's two things. Also, being Indian, I just have to say again, like, the word curry it doesn't mean anything. It's like just saying the word food. Like, it doesn't have, like, a specific meaning to it. Like, there is such a spice that is curry powder. I don't know if that's, like, the main ingredient of the thing.
Yeah. Okay, so, like, I am able to differentiate between different curries. But over here, if you just order curry and chips, it will just be... I'm not even sure what curry they use. They just use standard curry flavor. But there's,
like, an understood one that is, like, the one, I guess.
There's the curry, and then you got the subcategories, like, vindaloos and stuff, you know?
Oh yeah, your vindaloos and your Manchurians.
And your korma, which is the only one I can have because I'm weak.
That is weak, yeah. Vegetable korma is pretty good. Okay, so, thank you for joining us for our cultural exchange today. I'm sorry, I'm at my house right now. I'm at my mom's house, back here for the holidays. I'm looking dead on at a picture of me from, I'm gonna guess, like, when I was... I'm gonna guess 6 or 7, maybe max. I am wearing a Jar Jar costume with a full mask.
Do you say a Jar Jar costume?
Here. Yeah, Jar Jar Binks from the Star Wars.
Like, you were a child who wanted to dress up as Jar Jar and enjoyed Jar Jar.
I think kids liked Jar Jar. I think that was the thing, because he was stupid and he kept, like, eating apples and just, like, falling over. Oh god, from my memory.
Like, I mean, Jess, can you remember? Like, I used to be quite anti-Jar Jar when I was a kid.
I've watched it recently, and I think when I was a kid, I never really noticed him, but as an adult,
that's like
really
the worst one. Okay.
I never really thought about it.
Now, I am also looking at a picture here that my mom has put up of me when I want to say this one, I'm 3, and I am in a full Scooby-Doo costume.
Oh
lounging.
God.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in this room. Yeah, but this is GameBusters, I think.
It used to be the podcast formerly known as GameBusters.
Yeah. This one, it's going to be a lot like Prince. I think less homophobic will be here though than Prince. We'll strive for that.
That's fingers crossed.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is a video game podcast where we look at the video games and we say, that was pretty good, huh? So each week we do a deep dive into a game or maybe a franchise that we just want to like talk about and relive, or maybe we want to like dunk on it. I don't know. It just depends on the week. But I can't wait for our episode in a year when we can do Cyberpunk.
I'm so ready for that. I'm bottling up all the rage just for that.
I wonder. I was actually thinking. I was going to ask you, like, what is your limit? Do you think? Because we're supposed to be like doing a retrospective on games. Like, when is the soonest we can do a Cyberpunk episode?
That's a good point.
I think about a year. Well, it's been about a year since Death Stranding was released,
it has.
So I think this is
now. If you talk about how long it does feel like it's been a year since Cyberpunk has been out.
Can we do like a retrospective on like the unpatched version? Does that count?
Okay, yeah. When the new one comes out in like February, we'll do like a retrospective on the OG, the launch version. Great. So yeah, sorry. God, we're so off track. Yeah, I'm joined, as I'm sure you've heard her by now. Ree is here as well, as always.
Yeah, you probably definitely heard me by now.
I'm sure. And then we have our special guest today is Jess from GameLuster.
Hello.
Welcome. All right, so, Ree, I gotta get this out on the table right now. We're talking about Death Stranding today. What level of spoiler are you okay with? If I pretend you're getting curry, and they ask you, like, what level of spice do you want?
Okay, well, don't ask me that, because I am the whitest person at GameLuster ever.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
That's a lofty claim.
I feel
Have you met Luke?
But I can handle Cassandra at most, you know?
Okay.
That's the best curry, oh my god. But anyway, in terms of
okay, a spoiler, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, and 10 is just, like, everything that ever happened, like, where are we sitting?
Just tell me everything. At this point, it's my own fault for not playing it. Just to unleash all of this.
Okay. I also want to just say, like, it's so confusing that, like, you will go away from this knowing less about it than you did when we started anyway, so.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Yeah, there is so much to
remember,
unpack.
like, when it first came out, Jess, you were playing it, and, like, now and then I'd be like, oh, how's it going? And you'd talk to me about it, and I'd have no bloody clue what you're on about, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, like, I was talking to my friend, like, as I was going through it, and I was like, Mads Mikkelsen is a ghost! And she's like, Nirav, it's 4 a.m. Yeah, so first let's jump into the Hall of Fameluster quickly. We're gonna try to speed through this episode a little because we're recording a double today. We gotta bank one for Christmas.
Just break the fourth wall there.
Yeah. This is but I think this is gonna be the Christmas episode, even though we're recording it first. I think the one where we make the game should come out sooner because people will remember it and be more excited since they put in all their submissions already. Anyway, so let's get into the Hall of Fameluster. The moon, last you remember, we have rented out a good chunk of the moon, about 100 square miles from Elon Musk. So we're actually doing okay on space. We've actually been able to spread out a little bit.
That's good.
Today we actually don't need a lot of room today because today we're looking at the best video game shoes in honor of Norman Reedus's boots. So this can be any, like, by the way, this is any footwear of any kind if you have something creative. So I'm guessing the one that I picked is obviously taken probably by Ree, so I'm going to use my second backup. I have a backup ready.
I think
Ree, why don't you go ahead and go ahead and tell me the exact thing that I know you're going to say?
See, I think I know what you think I picked, and which you would also want to pick, but I'm not going to pick that.
Okay.
But,
so cryptic.
But I thought, is it Sonic who you were thinking of?
Yeah, obviously, right? Like the soap, the
That's
classic
what I was
red
thinking
soaps.
of.
Like, obviously.
Yeah, I was so close to going with that, but then I changed my mind because I remembered that our poor boy Norman Reedus, he wears out his shoes an awful lot. So I wanted to think of something really practical for him. And I had to go with Sora's shoes in Kingdom Hearts because they're just like...
Okay, that's very good.
Like, they're just clown shoes. shoes. Like,
just fucking clown shoes, yeah.
And it's like.
Also, sorry, are we, in the fiction of this, in the lore, are we adding Norman Reedus to the hall, but, like, he's wearing the shoes that are gonna win today?
Of course, I mean...
Okay, alright.
These are practical.
That's good to know.
Because not only does he wear them throughout all the games, he also, like, they're big enough so that he can grow into them, you know, like when you're a kid, and your mum buys...
You think Norman Reedus is gonna keep growing?
He's a growing lad, I'm sure, you know? So...
we could, you know what, the thing is, he does have a son, who's like, 9 or 10 years old. By the way, that son's name, if anyone doesn't know, is Mingus Reedus. It's not a joke.
What?
Not a joke. So, Mingus Reedus can maybe hang out in the Hall of Fame Luster
Mingus Reedus? You're making that up. No.
I'm not making it up. Okay, that's very good. Jess, what did you bring?
I was going to bring Sonic.
Okay, do you have a back? Or you can do Sonic.
I like how we all thought of Sonic.
Because I don't really focus on people's shoes, and I thought of Sonic because his shoes kind of take up like 30% of his body, so they're kind of like hard.
That boy's like 30% shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, Sonic's classic. My backup was from Hades, the Hermes shoes, the ones with little wings on them that you can get, and they let you like levitate a little bit and add a bunch to your speed.
That would be helpful.
So like, they're like the shoes he's wearing in the Hercules movie. It's those shoes.
Oh.
Right, Hermes flying shoes. All right.
Yeah, our boy Norman could do with them. I also just want to say I confirm that Mingus Lucien Reedus is real. Oh my god.
Lucien?
I know.
Why is that the part I don't believe? Okay, I don't even know what to do with this. Let's just vote. I need to get out of this. What are you doing?
Alright, it's gotta be Sora and Sonic, the Big Feet gang.
Yeah, Bigfoot gang, rise up. Okay, Jess, what about you?
I've got to stick with Sonic. I honestly can't think of anybody else's shoes apart from actually maybe your character in Fable 1. You know where his like feet like massive when you start off as a child. Yeah, that stood out for me as well.
What is it about like these video games which give you like big feet? Like who in the industry has this foot fetish which is just infecting everything?
I was so thankful when you get past that intro bit and he finally like kind of grows into his feet a bit.
With, like adult feet.
What? What are you talking about?
On the game Fable, you start with like adult-sized feet as a child and then just grow into them as an adult.
Huh. Things are really different over there in Europe, huh? Okay. We're learning a lot today.
It's rough
Jess, where's your second vote going?
I've got to stick for Sonic. I think he's got such an iconic pair of
you already
shoes.
did one for Sonic, and because of Axel's Law, you do have to put the other vote somewhere else.
I'll stick it with the Fable character then, because I don't know who the other two are.
So now you've done something else where you've brought two contestants into the Hall of Fame Luster, which I guess I haven't forbidden before. So sure, the Fable. Man,
so we're now gonna have Jess's law as well.
Jess's law is that you can only bring one entrant into the Hall of Fame Luster.
Oh god, I think that's more exciting than the Hall of Fame Luster like entrance is like the people who just require us to bring rules into the Hall of Fame Luster. So Axel and Jess going strong now.
Okay, great. I think I had a creative idea. I'm gonna give myself one, but I am gonna give one to Sora because I laughed a lot, and his shoes are so big. He's like a clown. Okay, so
this is gonna be fun.
This is an easy one because it's just one of each shoe, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
One Sora shoe. So on the cover of this week's episode is gonna be Norman Reedus with one Sora shoe and one Sonic shoe. It's not even that. Honestly though, like he's just gonna look like a character from Cyberpunk at that point.
Oh Oh god. Like, this isn't even one of our most craziest like entrants, especially when
this has probably been the most mild Hall of Fame luster so far.
It has, yeah, very calm. I mean, there was that one time we combined, what was it, Snively and Chip.
Chipley. I remember Chipley.
Oh,
I try to forget Chipley, but I do remember him.
Oh, that was fun.
All right, let's break right into it. Welcome to Bustums. This is for Death Stranding. So I have made it known, I think before, but I'll say it again. I think I don't want to put a hard yes on it, but Death Stranding might be my favorite video game ever made. I think it might be the best one. It is up there for sure. It's in a contest for me personally. So I have a lot of love for this. I didn't play it until the PC port this year in June, and I managed to avoid spoilers for the entire 6 months, and got it completely fresh, and it was just mind-blowing. So let's talk a little bit about Kojima. So everyone knows our friend Hideo Kojima, of course. He's pretty famous in the video game industry. If you don't know him, he is the creator of the Metal Gear series and then Metal Gear Solid, continuing from that. And yeah, so he started with Konami. Konami actually used to own Kojima Productions. So back in the Dizzy, Konami, sponsored, basically kept giving blank checks to Kojima and saying, just fuck off, do something and make us money. And he did it. And have you guys played any of the Metal Gear games?
I tried.
I haven't, but I've watched a few playthroughs.
Yeah, I tried to play, I think 5, and I had no fucking clue what was going on. So, but
well, you're not supposed to, so that means you're doing
it. I respect them from a distance.
I have only started Metal Gear 5, and then I got bombarded with a bunch of review stuff. But I'm 3 hours into that, and I love it so far. I will be getting back to that after the holidays. But yeah, so Metal Gear Solid is a very weird game. It's a weird series of games, and they've done a lot to sort of turn the industry on its own head, a good bit of the time. They defy a lot of the basic logic that you kind of just take to be a video game thing, if that makes sense. And I think that's really cool. They also are very cinematic. Kojima's a huge film buff, and he has always said I want to make I'm making movies, but they're not movies. All the Metal Gear Solid games have been sort of his attempt to make a video game that feels like going to a big action movie. And I mean, I think he's succeeded to my understanding in that. But a quick history, I don't know if you guys remember this in 2015 or 2014 actually. After Metal Gear 5 came out, there was some stuff came out about how Konami was literally just kind of abusing Kojima. Hideo Kojima had fallen into a chronic depression for the last year and a half or something of development on Metal Gear 5, and his productivity had fallen because of that, and Konami's response was to lock him away in a room alone every day, where he was not allowed to communicate with his team, and he had to basically code a lot of this game just on his own. He had a support team elsewhere, but he was not allowed to work with anybody else, and it obviously only added to his depression, and he said he spiraled into madness at some point, as anyone would in that situation.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, I've been told by a lot of people, and I am still looking forward to playing it, but playing through Metal Gear 5, you can see the descent into insanity almost, in this game. And I don't know, I think that's interesting. I only say that because he's out, obviously. They had to hire some lawyers, and it took months, but eventually they were able to get him out of under Konami's foot. And he was able, but Kojima Productions was disbanded under Konami. And unfortunately, at the time, Kojima had also been working on, after Metal Gear 5, he had been working on Silent Hill, which he was doing with Norman Reedus, the Norman Fetus. I think it was in that too. And that came out as PT. Do you guys remember PT?
Oh boy, yeah, that whole controversy.
Yeah.
I mean, like you mentioned how they had that arrangement where Kojima made Konami the money. Obviously, at this point, Konami decided they hated money, which is the only way to explain what happened with PT.
It's interesting because after that, like, I will say they've been consistent because they haven't released a video game since then.
Yeah.
It was quite devastating as well, because when you watch previous videos of Kojima, like all the way through his career, people ask him, what's your dream project? And he'd always say to work on the Silent Hill games. And it was kind of his goal ambition, so I just felt absolutely devastated for him that he got pulled from
after like playing through like PT, it's obvious that he would have knocked it out of the park. Like this would have been a masterpiece horror game had it been finished.
It's just a demo, and even like then it's still listed as like one of the top 10 horror games of all time, even though it wasn't even a proper game.
It's just genius. But if you haven't played it, I highly recommend you go watch the Game Grumps playthrough of it. It is maybe the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. Anyway, nobody's quite sure what happened with PT. Basically, like it's developed by Kojima Productions and published by Konami, but it just showed up on the PlayStation Store one day, and without any warning or prompting or marketing. And people saw us from Kojima, downloaded it, and then just a few days later, it disappeared. The working theory, nobody knows what happened. The working theory around the internet is that Kojima had figured out how to terminate his relationship with Konami and was going to be leaving, and as a last sort of fuck you, uploaded what he had done to the PlayStation Store without Konami's say-so, and then they found out about it and removed it.
What an absolute king.
I don't know that that's what happened, but I like to believe.
Yeah.
So, again, we've been dancing around it, but all of this led Kojima to... And then I remember his triumphant return at the Game Awards when he had his first public appearance in like 4 years, because Konami also didn't allow him by contract to appear publicly in any way during the last few years there.
Even though he's quite possibly one of the most endearing people in the gaming industry.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't want him. It's hard to figure out like what Konami was sort of doing, and like again, they haven't made any video games in 4 years now.
Exactly.
So like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Like he was the best PR for them, because he's just such this genuine, passionate guy who puts so much into the games he makes. And they were like, nah, that shit's embarrassing, keep him backstage. Like, what? Why?
It's ridiculous. But anyway, we're on to Death Stranding. So Kojima, right away when he left Konami and announced he was gone, he was forming the independent studio, Kojima Productions, reforming it from the ground up. And he said, like, we are independent. We are never going to be owned by anybody. We're going to be running ourselves. And what's really nice is that, I think except for 3 or 4 people, every single person on his team from Konami left the company to come work for him.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like, it's really nice. So this is the same Kojima Productions that was making Metal Gear, like, from top to bottom. And, these people, I think the studio's like about 150 people, to my understanding. So it's pretty sizable. But yeah, in 2016 at E3, they finally debuted Kojima's new project. He had already said, like, I'm working with Sony. Like, we are independent, but Sony's going to be publishing this, project. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. And finally, the first trailer dropped at E3. I don't know if anyone was watching live. I remember I was when that came out. And
oh boy, that was something.
That was so that's where we got our first naked Reedus. That is also where they had the whales, and then sort of he turned blue on the beach and then held the baby and cried. It was 8 minutes long, and it was the best 8 minutes of anyone's life up to that point.
It was just... I don't even know how to put it into it. I thought it was a bit of a joke at first, especially when we started seeing naked, and then he was crying, and I was like, okay, I guess this is happening. And then, I don't know, but then as soon as I found out it was Kojima, I was like, yeah, he's got this. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's figured it out. And so, that was when he announced that he was working... So the original trio, he was actually working with Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus on Silent Hill before that was canceled. So both Norman Reedus and Del Toro came along with him and said, let's do it again. Different this time.
He must have the best. He must be one of the most charismatic people in the gaming industry because he just brought all of these people, including two people.
Love him.
Yeah, including two people who aren't even known for video games, like Del Toro, who was already burnt out on like 2 projects at this point, which hadn't panned out, and he managed. And
I think this was actually right. And I think actually when they started this, like, was around the time that like. Because wasn't Del Toro supposed to do the Hobbit movies, and then he got, like, shit on and thrown out?
Yeah, I think it was. It was not a good time for him.
It was not. Yeah, it was a really, like, rough parting between him and Warner Brothers. Man. But anyway, so the trio is back together. They appeared on stage and were like, let's fuck it up. I also brought in one quote I saw from Kojima that was, if you can do one thing well, then you can do everything well. I don't know if I don't know if that's right. I guess
I'm gonna
Is that
pretend
right?
I know what that means. I mean, I can sort of see where he's coming from with that. He's saying, I think he's saying like find your passion in life, and that's all you need, and focus on that, and then you'll have everything.
Well, this was when he was asked, like, are you ever gonna make movies? And he said, like, oh yeah, if you can do one thing well, you can do everything well. So he was like, I guess he was just saying, like, yeah, I could if I wanted to.
I'm too good for movies. I would make movie that's too good.
I mean, just the ending of Death Stranding was a film in itself, really. It was just 2 hours of pure cutscenes.
The problem is, like, if Kojima made, like, a movie for, like, the theaters, like, the ticket that they gave you would, like, I don't know, like, it would, like, imprint itself onto your skin and, like, brand you, and then, like, you would have to find, like, a person in the world with, like, a matching brand to yours, and that would be, like, the end of the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't just be a movie. It can't be that.
No, that would be too normal for him.
So, Guerrilla Games actually did a lot of support from Sony. They were really cool, and Sony provided... And Sony, by the way, again, blank check for Kojima. They said 100%, we have no idea what you're doing. We're not going to ask any questions. Take as much money as you need. And they actually only... It's actually... I'll give a bump to Sony here. They also didn't ask for... I don't know if they asked for it. They didn't decide on exclusivity, even though they funded this project. So it was a PlayStation exclusive for 6 months and then came out on PC. Which was apparently a mandate Kojima had from the beginning, was like, this is not going to be an exclusive and we are not going to be owned by Sony. And they were like, all right, blank check anyway. Like, this guy's got to be the best salesman in the world.
That's the thing. Not only did he score that deal, he then also went, round Hollywood and just with a net and scooped up these actors and was like, hey, do you want to be in my video game? When I guarantee you, like, half of the cast probably didn't even know what a video game was. And
you don't think they know? You don't think they're gamers? You don't think Mads Mikkelsen's a gamer?
I think he's too cool to be a gamer.
That's probably true. So yeah, Guerrilla Games, you know them from Horizon Zero Dawn, and they also did Killzone, but they used their proprietary Decima engine and provided that to Kojima, and he was like, great, and they built the assets in there. I saw an interesting note that, like, while they were starting development to learn how to use the Decima engine, they recreated their office like 1-to-1 inside the engine and would just like do fun stuff and hold parties in there.
Oh, bless.
Just to like learn how the engine worked, which is a great idea. I remember I saw this quote also from Sean Layden at E3 2017. He was asked in an interview, like, so what genre of game is Death Stranding? And he said, like, it hasn't been invented yet. Just very cryptically. Like, there's no genre to describe this game.
I haven't played Death Stranding, but is that true?
I would say so. There are elements of a lot of other genres in there, but overarching, I can see how it could be described as a new genre of game. Yeah. Let's see. So I actually saw another interesting thing from Kojima, because he said, like, yes, this is a new genre of game called Strand. So he said this is the genre of game this is a Strand game. Now, when asked about that, he also said, like, back when I did the very first Metal Gear game, it was the first stealth game. There wasn't a word for stealth games at the time. And they just called it an action game because they didn't know what to call it. And like, I mean, he said like, I effectively invented that genre anyway. Why can't I just do it again?
Is he wrong though? He isn't.
I mean, like, he's not wrong. I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's just so powerful. Yeah. So Guillermo's in. Everyone's in. The album comes out to get everyone hyped. And I don't know if you've heard any of the album. It's like a fucking bonkers album. That goes along with it. Like there is an album called Timefall, which is several gigantic artists. I think so. There's a Major Lazer, The Neighborhood, Bring Me the Horizon, Churches. They all did original songs about the world of Death Stranding, like to hype everybody up.
And I'm sure he didn't even have to pay them. He probably didn't even have to pay them. He probably just like hit them up on like Twitter or something. Like, hey, you do a song for me, and they're like, hell yeah,
hells yeah. Yeah. It's sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, he was going out for lunch with everyone during development. Like I was convinced that he wasn't even making a game. He was just meeting up with celebrities.
It's possible. I mean, like, I remember that, like, I also just remembered that that Conan bit where like Conan O'Brien went to his office and like got scanned into the game and everything. If you haven't watched that on YouTube, it's very funny. But like. Conan like arrives at Kojima Productions like when he's in Japan, and like he walks into this like white empty room with like no doors or windows, and he's like, hello. It's like that's just the entrance of the office. It's just this blank walled room. And then like Kojima like appears from this door that slides out of the wall, and this light bursts behind him. It's just God. It's amazing. Like the I don't know, his flair for drama, it appeals to me, I think, a lot. Yeah. We're gonna scan you into this, and we're gonna make you do a lot of funny things. All right, so let's talk about this game finally. So we're here. We finished development November 8th, I want to say, 2019. This game is released on PS4. I want to give a huge shout out to Kojima because this was a big deal for him too. Before the PlayStation version was available for pre-order, he told everybody on his Twitter, we are making a PC version. It is coming out in June 2020. If you are waiting to play it on PC, don't worry, we got you. And that is awesome because a lot of people would have double dipped on that. I would have. But like, I don't know. I just want to give him a shout out for doing that. That's not very typical when you do things like this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And by the way, the PC version is not just a port. There's actually a lot of added content. We can get to that in a bit. So let's talk about it. So I've been talking a lot. Jess, why don't you tell me as much as you think you physically can about the world of Death Stranding?
It's been a year, but I think I'll try and wrap my brain. So give it a go. Humanity is like on the brink of extinction. Because there's been these explosions called what are the explosions called again? It's I've got a name.
I think the apocalyptic event itself was called the Death Stranding.
Yeah, that was it. And with the explosions, these like paranormal entities like turned up, and they come from this place called the Beach, which I think is supposed to be like an afterlife kind of thing.
It is
just like another world where you can also go.
Yeah, from what I understand, the Beach is the collective subconsciousness. It is the subconscious thing that connects all of us all the time, where like our minds live.
And because this has happened, humanity's kind of like scattered across America. They never mention any of the other countries. It's just kind of like focused in America. And people were just kind of living in small colonies all by themselves, and they're not really talking to each other. And you get kind of you play Sam Porter Bridges, who's a postman. And he gets hired by the President of the United States to basically go from one end of the country to the other and delivering parcels, but then also linking people up to his network so they can start staying in touch, and they can start like rebuilding like government authority again in America. but then at the same time, your goal is to get to the other side of America, where this woman called Amelie's been kidnapped, and she's like being held hostage there by this terrorist organization who don't want people to be linked together again. They want like independence. And they've also been causing some of the explosions. They're like partially responsible for some of the devastation that's happened.
I like. So I'll also mention Amelie is Sam's like sister. To like, you know, and also the president of the United States is his mother. So that's like her at the beginning. It's like her dying wish, basically, for Sam to reconnect the country that she's been trying to hold together. And he's very disaffected. Like they do not have like a working relationship with each other, but he comes to her side when she's dying, right? And her last wish, you know, is for him to do this. And then, upon getting the news from Amelie, like, you know, she messages him, you know, in her hologram message, and is like, Troy Baker is holding me hostage. It's yeah. So like that's the driving force that, because Sam, by the way, like I think the thing about Sam is that he also doesn't want to do this at the beginning. He's a very reluctant protagonist. And I appreciate that, because like he's reluctant to, like, because I mean he looks at the world and he's like, everyone's disconnected, everyone is isolated, no one can talk to each other, but like, what could I do? And like, why should I care about what happens to anybody else? But like this threat of like, you know, his sister being taken away is like enough to get him moving. And on the way, like, you know, a ragtag band of heroes forms, basically, from the Bridges company. Oh, by the way, how did we not say this? Sam Porter Bridges, his middle name is his job, and his last name is the company he works for. I don't think that's ever explained.
I was so confused by that.
Yeah, so Norman Reedus is and by the way, like, Norman Reedus doesn't do a ton of talking, but like this is motion captured with like, you know, facial capture and everything. He does some of like probably the best like body acting, I guess, I've seen in a video game. Like, he is so expressive with his movements and his facial expressions. Like, he doesn't need to talk very much. I also mentioned like just thematically, like Norman Reedus, his character is like, he has this, what is the fear? What is the phobia called? He has a phobia of there's a phobia of touching other people. I don't remember what that's called.
He's not like a germaphobe or something, is he?
No, it's not that. It's like there's like a name for it. It's like a you know, a condition where you are afraid to contact someone else's skin. And so
it's due to his, because he's also he's got this ability where he can when he dies, he goes to the beach, but then he can return back to the real world again. But because he's got this ability, he's also got this connection with the BBs, who are the paranormal entities that are kind of like stalking the land. And so he's got this condition where he can detect them, but then at the same time, it also makes him kind of not want to touch people, because I think it makes him like sensitive.
Yeah, I'm going to try to explain this. So I'm sure you've seen the babies in the pod, the BBs.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's up with this? So during the Death Stranding apocalyptic event, this series of explosions, it killed the idea of death. The concept of death was destroyed that day. And so on that day, billions even of people from Earth that were alive were just knocked over into the world of the dead without going through the process of dying. In a similar fashion, yeah.
Wait, hold on. How do you go into the afterlife without dying?
You just are dead at that point. You have not, like, they didn't, nothing killed them, but they are dead now and they're gone. And
okay.
So on the other side, when the explosion happened, a lot of billions of dead people who have been dead for a while got knocked back into the world of the living, but they did not become alive. They are still dead. And that is what the BTs are, the wraith-looking things. And each of them is tethered still to the other side by an umbilical cord that is connecting them back to the world of the dead. Now, I know all this sounds insane, and it only begins to make any sort of sense when you think about the entire... This is a very, like, a top-down game. The entire game, every single piece of the world and the setting and the characters and the gameplay was built around the idea of things being broken apart and connecting them back together. And, like, all of it works together just perfectly. Like, so, each of these, I don't know, like, so, Jess, like, I don't know, maybe you can, like, talk about the social features a little bit, because, like, that is the thing that really, like, I think sets this game apart and above everything else.
This is where the strange genre comes in. So the closest thing I can refer it to is the Dark Souls games, where the multiplayer system in the Dark Souls games is that you can just kind of see ghosts of the players, so they leave behind messages, and then you can see their ghosts after they've died. And then sometimes their messages will help you out, or sometimes they can be summoned into a boss battle. And it's very similar to the system that goes on in Death Stranding, only there's no invasions by other players. The online world is purely there to help you out throughout your journey. So as you go along further into the game, you'll find things that other players have left behind in their own world. So say if they've lost some equipment, you can pick up that equipment, and they could build a bridge, and then you'll see that bridge in your own world. You can leave each other ropes and stuff. And as you come across these items, you can leave the player a like to tell them that it's been useful. And the more times it gets liked, the more times it's seen by other players. So it's kind of wholesome, really, because you never see any other players in your world, and you're essentially like alone. It's supposed to be this journey where that Sam goes through on it by himself, but then you're also constantly reminded that really you're not alone, because everybody's linked up through this network.
Yeah, and so like as you travel from region to region and you place down the internet lines, the chiral network, and you reconnect the world, like everything comes online, and that's when other people's buildings start to show up. And I mean, I'm sure it was the same for you. I can count like over a dozen times, like I was on the verge of death and someone else's structure saved my life. Like, it is I don't know. It's just like, the thing is like these people, like, once you travel through a region, like you can leave stuff there too. Like you don't have to like come back and do stuff there. But the thing is that like this, I guess the point I'm going to get to at the end, but I'll bring it up now, is like, I think Death Stranding is so phenomenal and really transcends media because it forces the best version of you out. There is no room in this world for you to be selfish, for you to dislike people, for you to be greedy. There is no way to take. There is only a way to give. And the only thing you can...
You say that, but players did find a way, funny enough, to grief each other in the very early... when the game was very first released, there was this one issue where people were shoving their very large vehicles down to like the crevices of canyons and stuff. You know the NPCs who live in the mountains and stuff. They would shove their really large vehicles down these crevices, so then the other players can't actually access these.
Oh my god.
So you'd come across like a cave or something, and you can't get in because about 50 players have like thrown their lorries. Like,
I guess they patched that eventually.
The building.
I mean,
yeah, they've now given you the option to be able to delete vehicles.
Right.
So that's
I mean, it was a lovely sentiment, and to be fair, for the most part, from what I have seen, it looks like it has brought out a lot of good in people, especially this year with the PC port, because I think 2020, obviously,
right.
I think it's very relevant. This sort of sense of isolation.
Yeah.
But also, you know, gamers will be gamers. There's always going to be people griefing.
Right. The gamers are going to be gamers. But yeah, like for instance, when I was playing, I played this game for review. I had a review copy on PC, and like a few weeks ahead of release, and so interestingly, like the only people online on the PC version were me and like 40-something other reviewers, right? So like I actually got to know everybody's like usernames that were floating around because there were only so many of us.
That's
and
sweet.
Like, yeah, it was kind of nice. I was like, oh, Larry 44556. Oh man, what's up, dude? But like, also funny. There was like, there was like some thing where it's like Kojima Productions like had a bunch of people also playing the game with us to make sure we had enough structures and everything. So like I would constantly see like structures from like Kojima Productions unit number 53653 or something.
That could have been Kojima himself. You never know.
I never know. Yeah, but it's just incredible. Like the story also is like, I don't know why, but like this story hit me like harder than maybe anything ever, and I think it is because of what 2020 has sort of become and like how it tied so closely into the pandemic. And I actually made a video about this a long time ago. You can go check it out on our YouTube channel on GameLuster. But it if anyone remembers, this game came out a week before The Last of Us 2 on PC, and it drew a very interesting like opposite to it, because Death Stranding is a story about how, like, no matter how hard the Earth itself, like in this story, the universe itself is personified, and it is trying to kill us. The universe is determined to make humans extinct, and it is personified into a character and everything. Like, it's very, very on the nose, and yet even through all that, like, humans are able to persist. We care about each other. When we stay connected to each other, we cannot be killed. Is like the lesson. There is no way to stop people when we come together. Whereas, like, in, The Last of Us, it's sort of a story of the deterioration in the opposite way, where everybody is split apart and begins to become tribal and become factions and hate each other and kill each other, and there is no room left for love in this world.
Ruining your own life, seeking revenge, and
it's really good. Yeah.
And
I will also say, like,
what we needed.
And like I will also say, like, had both of those games come out without the context of the pandemic, I'm sure I would like Death Stranding a little less, and that I would like The Last of Us a little more. I'm thinking, but yeah, so Kojima has been asked about this because obviously the conditions of Death Stranding mirror the pandemic a lot, and I remember a very fun quote where they asked him can you see the future? And he said, if I could see the future, I would have sold a lot more copies of Death Stranding. But it is worth noting that, like, because I think we forget this, but in China, the coronavirus did start in November. In fact, just a few days after the first coronavirus cases, just a few days after this game came out. In November.
What did he know? Why didn't you tell us, Kojima?
Why didn't he tell us?
I know Konami screwed you over, like, but was this really worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and also I have to say, like, Troy Baker as the villain, Higgs, in this game is maybe my favorite villain in any video game ever. I think it is. He turns in like the most charismatic performance I maybe have ever seen. And also, like, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I do have to talk about, there's this one scene where you get a parcel, you get given a parcel. It usually, you'll go to a terminal and this parcel will come through the terminal and it goes through this system, and then one time it doesn't come through. And then this guy who, bear in mind, Troy Baker's the villain by this point, and this guy comes out suspiciously looking like Troy Baker.
He's just wearing a uniform.
The eyeliner.
Like, well, I'm not Troy Baker.
And he's like, oh, sorry, it's not gone through the terminal properly. Here's your parcel. And when you go into the parcel's description, I think it says it's a bomb, and it says it's come from one of your friends called Fragile, but before it got to her, it was given to her by Troy Baker. And throughout this whole mission, I was like, what? Why is it why is it registered as Fragile? What's in this? And you just knew it was a bomb.
I remember seeing a a meme about that with like the SpongeBob thing, like, oh, we made it in a factory, a bomb factory. It's a bomb.
And it's like halfway through the mission, and then Sam generally acts surprised. I think it's supposed to be like a twist halfway through the mission that this thing is like, it's a trap, it's a bomb. They're like, and he's like, oh no, that was the bad guy back
Yeah,
there.
exactly. But like it's Troy Baker, because it's hard to it's him. Like it's hard to miss him. He is wearing some delightful eyeliner though that I love. But yeah, like I also have to say, I want to say quickly, this is not a walking simulator game. Like if I had to classify it, it's an action adventure game. Like I don't know why so many people decided it was a walking simulator. Like there is a lot of work you have to do with the like understanding the physics of how to move your Norman Reedus. Like the because you have to like actually balance the packages, figure out how much weight is on each side of his body, figure out what supplies you can afford to take with you from point to point, get from point to point by dodging around obstacles and walking around rocks and bodies of water, getting up and down cliffs and mountains. And then, of course, there's enemies, right? There's, like, the BTs, which are, like, horrifying when you encounter them. Oh, how did you feel on your first, BT explosion? I don't remember what they're fucking called, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, it went awful. I actually got to this point about halfway through the game where I used to just, like, mow my way through the BTs through a truck. But I remember, like, my very first time, I think I snuck about, like...
Void out. It's
2
called
meters
Void out.
into that forest where you've got... Yeah, yeah, Void out. I think I was sneaking, like, about 2 meters in there, instantly got spotted, and then I spent the rest of the mission, like, running for dear life, running into about 20 bosses. Oh, that's the point. When you get caught by the BBs, you get dragged into a boss battle. So if you do this multiple times, then you end up doing about, like, 5 boss battles in that same area. In the void out areas, it's stressful.
Man, there is so much lore we have like literally can't even get to talk about because there's so much of it. Like for instance, when somebody dies now, if you don't incinerate their body within 30 minutes, they cause a void out and summon the BTs. And then there's another boss battle of a giant wraith monster that like has millions of minions climbing out of the goo to drag you down with them.
Oh boy,
it's amazing. Oh. Also, I have to say, the final not the final boss battle, but like the last one against Troy Baker is one of my favorite like boss battles in video games. Like, you know what I'm talking about on the beach there? I also don't know if you noticed this in yours, but I did in mine. All those cases that you find lying around on the beach that you like keep hitting him with are all the packages that you dropped during your journey that got washed into the sea. And like they washed back up on the beach. Yeah, so like the more you fucked up, the more like weapons you have lying around.
Oh, I'm glad I was terrible at playing it.
Yeah, same. Which reminds me of I think Metal Gear 2 or 3. Please don't kill me, Metal Gear fans. It's one of them. There was like the river. You know what I'm talking about? Where near the end of the game, every single character, every single enemy that you've killed, their spirit climbs out of the river of souls, and like you have to fight all of them at once, and like it's dependent on how many people you've killed, and if you manage to not kill anybody, there's no fight. But like again, remember that was like 2002, so that was like fucking mind blowing, right? Like no one had ever done something like that.
That's the thing. Where does Kojima get these ideas from? The man just invented video games. Wait, hang on.
Oh my god, we haven't even talked about the Norman fetus.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Can I just ask the babies in the pods? What the fuck? Why does he have to have a baby with him? Okay,
so the babies that are in the pods are babies. So when the Death Stranding happened, a lot of pregnant mothers got knocked over to the other world, but their babies did not. And those babies that were left over here are still tied by their umbilical cord to their mother, who is in the world of the dead now. But these babies are both alive and dead at the same time. They have this unbreakable connection to the world of the dead, and by plugging into them like that, and plugging a machine into them rather, with the little like, you know, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a little spotlight that sits on your shoulder and like flaps around.
Yeah, I've seen that.
it detects BTs, and it can do that because it's connected to the BB. And so, like, and on that note, by the way, there is a character, Mama. Margaret Qualley plays her. Her name's just Mama. Who knows, man? But it's like a tragic story because her she was pregnant when the Death Stranding happened, but her baby was taken to the world of the dead, her unborn baby, while she was still pregnant, and she lived. And she built a lab back up around where that happened because if she walks too far away from where her baby died, she can feel the umbilical cord stretching and breaking, and she will lose her baby forever. And so,
Kojima, how did Kojima come up with that? Bloody hell!
Right, and but because of that, she's also able to talk. She's able to talk to her daughter, who's in the world of the dead, even though her daughter can't talk back because she's a baby. But like, it's and honestly, I have to say, like, when she like finally like cut the cord and everything and let her daughter be like free, like, and pass on to the next life, I fucking bawled like a child, and I had to turn off the game.
Yeah. So I think it prepared us so for the ending of the actual game, because throughout the whole game, Sam's kind of like building up a relationship with his BB, even though he's not really supposed to. The BB's
a machine. It's a tool.
Can't survive outside that pod.
It's a tool.
Yeah. But he still it's like Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. Basically, it's a Mandalorian.
So not only did Kojima predict coronavirus, he also predicted Baby Yoda. Is there anything this man can't do?
He foresaw the Baby Yoda.
He's like building an attachment to this BB all the way throughout the game, and that's when Mads Mikkelsen's character comes through, because Mads Mikkelsen was a scientist who died in battle, and basically he had a baby who became a BB, and he's haunting Sam throughout the whole game, like dragging him into these beaches, which are like World War simulators. Yeah. So he drags him into one which is based off World War One, World War Two, and Vietnam.
It's and
because he's like hunting down Sam to reclaim his baby, because it was taken from him. And then at the very end of the game, in like the 2 hour. Oh, it's so sad. You find out that actually it happened so long ago that Mads Mikkelsen's BB, the one he's looking for, was actually Sam when he was younger. And Sam's grown up into an adult now, but he used to be a BB.
Oh my god, just so perfect. Like, the whole time when you're fighting Mads Mikkelsen in these boss fights, like, he's walking towards you like a ghost, you know, and he's like, give me my BB. Like, I want my BB. And he's trying to come to you, right? Like, he's not trying to take, like, you know, the BB you're carrying. He doesn't care about that. Like, he's trying to come to you. He's trying to find his son again in the afterlife.
Oh my god.
I'm literally about to cry again. The last scene is so fucking heartbreaking.
Because Sam realizes that he was once a BB and he survived outside the pod. At the very end of the game, he thinks his BB's died. It goes into shock or something. I can't remember what happens to it, but it's presumed dead.
Yeah.
And as he's taking it away to cremate the body, he just tries bringing it outside the pod to bring it back to life again, and it works. And then he just finishes it off by calling the BB Louise, because he finds out it's a girl this whole time.
Yeah, because he was calling it Lou the whole time. There's like a little stinger afterwards, and he's like, Louise. Oh, okay. That part is the ending is so good, because like the whole thing of him like having to carry the burden of rebuilding America is like over, you know, like he's connected all the cities again, and like there's a new president and et cetera, but like, you know, he is still trapped in this like system, and Louise is still trapped in the system, and that doesn't allow for either of them. And so like the final thing you do is like disconnect yourself from the network, and you and your daughter venture out into the world to start a new life.
Such a nice ending for a game like in the action genre, where you have like these like hyper masculine characters, and then just to have this ending in like this major game where it's he just settles down and becomes a dad. That's so unbelievably sweet. Yeah.
People love people want gruff dads. They want Kratos, they want Geralt, they want the Mandalorian. Like this is and especially people love gruff bounty hunting dads.
They do.
I mean it's because like all the people in the games industry that were playing games when they were kids like are now like in their like early 40s, and they all have like a 6-year-old daughter, and like they're all just like this is it. You know. this is it. Yeah, it's by the way, the game's about 40 hours long, but I will qualify like maybe 5 hours of that is cutscene. It is I know people are like, oh, I don't like watching cutscenes. Like these are like movie quality cutscenes. Like they are, you actually just put down the controller for like, 10-15 minutes usually, and it's like you're watching an extremely high budget like sci-fi short film.
And the acting is so good, like throughout this.
It's incredible.
It is basically like an animated movie during these cutscenes. Like the graphics are gorgeous, the acting is like brilliant, and the motion capture as well is like really well done. There's like so many different facial expressions and like movements they do.
Also, do you feel like I know Mads Mikkelsen won the award for best performance last year, which he was amazing, but do you feel like Tommy Earl Jenkins did better? The who was a Die Hard man? That like his like final speech like actually again made me cry in real life.
Basically, Tommy Earl Jenkins plays the president's right-hand man, and he doesn't have much of a story, right, until like the very end, where you find out he was Mads Mikkelsen's like best friend back in the day, and he's partially the reason why Mads Mikkelsen's baby died in the first place, and he lost him. And I think he killed Mads Mikkelsen as well. And he basically has this like this monologue in the final in one of the final scenes where he's like begging Sam for forgiveness and just saying how much of an awful person he's been, and he just doesn't feel like he does, because he becomes president right at the very end, and he just doesn't feel like he deserves it after what he's done. But Tommy Earl Jenkins' performance is just like completely outstanding.
Oh my god, yeah. Also, I was just thinking about the ending when Mads Mikkelsen is like holding like the baby and like he's dying there, and because Mads Mikkelsen, his name is Cliff Unger, his character is just like I was just a cliff, and now that I end, you are my bridge to the future, like to his child, and then he dies, and I just fucking cried again for the 19th time that day.
All right, you win. I'm gonna fucking play this game.
Yeah, you should. I'll also mention quickly the PC version is definitely preferable. There is theoretically a PS5 version coming that can do 60 FPS. That's what I've heard. I don't think we have confirmation on it. This game, if you have a good PC, like enough to do this, like this needs to be played in 60 FPS at like the highest settings you can. Like it is gorgeous beyond belief. And also, the PC version comes with a bunch of Half-Life and Portal stuff, and not just stuff, but like quests and items and characters. Like, it's a whole ton of shit. And now Cyberpunk stuff. They actually added Cyberpunk, yeah.
But it also runs. It runs very well on the base game consoles as well. My PS4. I don't think I had any. I don't think I had any glitches.
No, it is extremely well optimized.
I don't remember
well
any
made,
glitches.
the whole way through. So
yeah. Especially because I played it within like the first few weeks of its release, and I think it had a really good release. It was basically perfect.
Remember when video games came out and you could play them?
I feel like a boomer hearing that. I've been saying that for years, and now I just feel like I need to accept that that's not the way it is anymore.
It just ain't the thing.
No.
I was looking back at the outline. I think we've done one of my points here, which was explain literally everything. We are nowhere near done with that, but we're gonna probably cut it there. So yeah, like I have to just say, like, are there enough ghosts? I think there's plenty of fucking ghosts in this game.
There's
so many, and they're so scary.
Yeah, possibly too many ghosts.
I don't need any more. There's already too many. I'm actually gonna call it on this one.
Let's remove some, and we'll save them for another game.
Yeah, we'll save them for later. All right, so time for games quickly. This isn't gonna take too long. I have a list here of. So Kojima is pretty well known for, kind of his, I'll say insane character names. Just for instances, like some of the characters in Death Stranding are of course Sam Porter Bridges. We have Die Hard Man. We have Heart Man, and we have what is fucking Guillermo del Toro Dead Man, and then Fragile, and then it basically goes like that, right? There is a guy named Die Hard Man. Don't think about it too much.
Wait, so when you said Die Hard Man, I thought that was a meme or something. But that's his actual name. There's
a man named, that's Tommy Earl Jenkins. He is Die Hard Man.
Because
he and his, by the way, the character Tommy Earl Jenkins, his character's real name, his birth name is John McClane also.
And why?
Well,
Kojima,
because of the movie Die Hard. Do you know? You know it?
I get that. I'm aware of that being.
It's Die Hard Man, like he's he's from the movie Die Hard, like that. I don't know what's so hard to figure out here.
No, but it's just Kojima. Why? Why would you call someone Die Hard Man? Why?
Because of the movie Die Hard.
I get that, but why?
Yeah. Sorry, this has reminded me of I had a British friend I was talking to about so I'm sure you guys are aware of this, how over in the UK the song Mr. Brightside has not left the charts in like 12 years. The top 40.
Oh, don't. It's literally our national anthem at this point.
And like I remember asking like, what's up with that? Like, and he was just like, it's a good song, man. I don't know what to say. I was like, okay, I guess so. Sure.
So any British person you ask will know the lyrics off by heart. To I don't even know the lyrics to our own national anthem.
No, that's the thing. I don't either. But I could do Mr. Brightside anytime.
Like,
but
the only thing I gotta ask, are we human or are we dancer?
Well, that's a tune. That's a certified tune as well, has to be said.
Okay, so I didn't have a name for this. I'm just gonna call it the Kojima Code because that's fun. Because Konami sucks ass. And so what I've done here is I've assembled some characters from the Metal Gear games, lesser known characters, and I've also used a random word generator to create some character names. So we're gonna try and figure out which of these are real or from a random word generator. I hope this. I think it's gonna work out. Let's see. Mercury Lady. You think
real? I think real, maybe.
Yeah, she is real. She's a Kojima character from Metal Gear.
It could have gone either way.
Yeah. How about Dollface?
Fake.
Yeah.
That was a fake one. That was a random word generator. Iroquois Pliskin.
Say that again?
Iroquois Pliskin? Those are Native American tribes.
Okay. Real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real one. That was a little too crazy. How about Wicked Magician? By the way, if you don't know, there is actually a lot of magic and sorcery in the Metal Gear games and like demonic stuff. Yeah.
What?
It is. It's about everything.
I'm gonna go with fake.
Fake? Okay, yeah, that is a fake one. You guys are doing well so far. How about Careless Butcher?
Real.
Fake.
Fake, that's a fake one. But how do you feel about Cyborg Ninja?
Cyborg Ninja? No, that's gotta be fake.
That's a real one. You're doing good, Jess.
Oh my god!
How do you feel about Big Mama?
Big Mama? I mean, there's already Mama in Death Stranding, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
So is there like a larger version of her called Big Mama?
She's the final
I'm gonna
boss.
go with yes. Yeah, yes, there is.
You gonna say real?
I'm gonna say real.
Real? Okay, that is a real one. Alright, we got two more. How about Skinny Driver?
God. Real.
Aha, that's a fake one. I feel good about that because it sounds like Mini Driver. Alright, last one. Black Whisper.
Real.
That's a fake one, too.
Real. Oh, wait, no, because...
That's a fake one, too.
Yeah.
Because what, sorry?
I was going to say, isn't Whisper a character, but no, that's Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5.
Quiet is a different character. Alright, good work, everybody. We did pretty well on that. So, let's close out. Thank you, guys, for joining us. And thank you to Todd Howard for... I mean, I guess... I don't know, Skyrim? Was Skyrim in this one somewhere? Do we do something with that?
I mean, maybe he implanted the idea of climbing mountains.
Oh, you know what? Actually, one thing I did note, I think, in my review, actually, of Death Stranding was that, like, when Todd Howard said, look at that mountain, you can climb it. This is the game he was talking about. It wasn't quite there with the technology at the time. Except if you had a horse, you could ride up the mountain vertically at 90-degree angles, which was fun. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, you can find us at GameLuster.com. We have some good YouTube videos. Come find us at youtube.com/GameLuster. I had a video about Cyberpunk that did pretty well recently, the genre, and my review of Cyberpunk 2077 just went live for the PC version only, very specifically. Not the console one.
That's a distinction we need to make.
Yes. Jess, you got any plugs? Where can people find you? What you doing?
Haven't released anything recently, but I am in the process of writing my own Cyberpunk review as well for GameLuster. I'll be reviewing it on PS4, so if you're looking for how much of a train wreck it was on that, then yeah, keep an eye on that.
Great. And Rhea, how about you?
Yep, same here, working on my Cyberpunk review. So me, Jess, and Axel are doing one for each life path. I'm doing Street Kid, and we're all playing on PS4, so...
This was before we knew that all the life paths were the same game.
Yeah, it was a way cooler idea, like 2 months ago when we started planning it. But we've locked into it now. It's happening, so you're just going to hear 3 people go through the various bugs they found. But, you know, how much they sort of enjoyed it as well. I don't know. I need to play it more before I figure it out. And also, I think at some point tomorrow we're going to record, me, Nirav, and Axel should be recording just a, like,
I found out my mom told me we're going on a day trip tomorrow very early in the morning, unfortunately.
Okay, so me and Axel then will be doing, like, some sort of impressions. Well, at some point we will have a video up just sort of discussing where we are at the game so far, because some of us haven't completed it yet, and just where we're at now, you know, a week after we've started playing it, what state the game's in, how we feel about the future of it, blah blah blah. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that.
I guess the answer is apprehensive. So
pretty much.
Yeah, if you guys like the show, please recommend us to friends, rate us on, you know, Google or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your stuff, or and also we're, you know, come check us out on Twitter at GameBustersPod, and so who won? We had 2 winners, right? Both you guys?
Oh Lord.
Just submitted 2 things.
Yeah, let's see. Yep, so it was Sonic and Sora who won. So that's Jess and I.
Okay, well, this is good. So I guess to close us out, to break us out of this podcast, if Jess, if you could, because you brought Sonic, if you could say something in Sonic's voice, and then if Ree, you could say something in Sora's voice at the same time, I think that'll help us.
I can't remember what he sounds like.
What do you mean you don't know what he sounds like?
They sound...
I've only played the Mega Drive ones, you know, the ones where you go through...
What?
It's like, you know, the platform
Okay,
game.
so Jess has to be silent then.
Okay. Jess, make the sound of collecting a ring. And...
I don't know what Sora sounds like.
I honestly, in my head, he sounds exactly the same as Sonic.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I can't extinguisher too, so I'm just gonna be like, oh yeah.
Come on, Goofy, we gotta go collect all the chaos keys.
Yeah, that was scarily good. Oh my god.
Maybe that'll be the end. Okay.
I don't understand Kingdom Hearts.
Because of the movie Die Hard.